Nationally, UK funds digital media workshops for media professionals in St. Kitts and Nevis. And a Cadres poll shows Team Unity as the preferred party for leadership following the 2020 federal election. Venezuela's Maduro proposes reopening consular relations with Colombia. Internationally, thousands stuck on cruise ship after suspected case of coronavirus. And in sports, Sir Alistair Cook joins MCC World Cricket Committee. We'll add the details to these and other stories after this short break.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back, and now for the national news. Change your story. That was the theme for a comprehensive digital media training workshop for media personnel in St. Kitts and Nevis. Funded by the UK High Commission, the goals of the workshop including honing journalists' craft to develop new skills in article presentation and multimedia and editing. Facilitator and multimedia trainer and mobile journalism specialist Dan Mason spoke to the VON Newsline with regards to the workshop's success.
It's not about me, it's about the group that I was working with, 10 really enthusiastic, committed communication professionals and journalists. And for me, if they can take away one or two things from our training, then it has been a success. So we were looking not only at some new tools, some new apps and so on, we were looking at ways of telling the story. And it's the combination of those two things I hope that people will take away, just maybe one or two apps, but a little bit of a determination to tell stories in a different way. I think from the feedback I've had so far, it's been a success.
The VON Newsline also spoke to Barbados representative of the British High Commission, Mr. Ed Munn, on why the workshop is being held.
It's part of the UK's Media Freedom campaign and initiative. It's about improving journalists across the world and their ability to carry out investigative journalism. It's about raising awareness of the extent, the opportunities and tools that are available now in someone's pocket in their smartphone, and how they can be used to better deliver story. Journalism, it's about truth and transparency and increasing public awareness of key issues that matter. It's really very simple. The Caribbean hasn't been selected for any particular reason. This is sort of a global issue about improving journalists and the media's ability collectively to hold people in power accountable, shine light where they need to be shone, bring to light key truths, key issues that people need to be aware about.
The workshop was attended by media representatives from local media houses ZIZ, NNC, SKN Pulse, and Vaughan Radio 860 AM. The two-day workshop, which took place from Monday 27th to Tuesday 28th January 2020 at the Ocean Terrace Inn Hotel, St. Kitts, is the second phase of the digital media training program being offered to the practitioners in St. Kitts and Nevis and 11 other countries. Results of a poll just released here in St. Kitts and Nevis shows the Team Unity administration poised to retake control of the government following the 2020 federal election. The Caribbean Development Research Services, or CADRES, headed by Mr. Peter Wickham, conducted a second national survey in October of 2019. The first of these polls was conducted some 2 years ago in July of 2018. In an interview with the VON Newsline, Mr. Wickham outlined the key factors found in the poll.
The overall scenario is that we're seeing 43% of people who responded were supporting Team Unity, while 32% were looking at Labour and NUP, and the 24% uncommitted. We normally do a swing analysis that essentially gives us an idea of what the overall support level will look like if the uncommitted voter voted as they have historically. And that gives us a projection of a 54% in favor of Team Unity, which ultimately is 4% swing in their favor. our headline expectation is that there's a swing of 4% in favor of Team Unity at this point in time, and I think that would basically be the headline regarding the poll.
Mr. Wickham also provided these findings of the poll as it relates to the preferred leadership.
The other key findings relate to leadership, and the leadership situation is one in which 53% are supporting the Team Unity's leadership, while 39% are supporting the leadership of Labour or the NRP. If we drill down regarding the actual support for persons who are uncommitted, we found a majority of uncommitted voters prefer the leadership of Timothy Harris, and that is significant. So 29% prefer Harris, while 22% are going for leadership of Douglas. And this is essentially among the uncommitted voters, the voters who have not told us which political party they will support.
Mr. Peter Wickham. As individuals at the Nevis Water Department work on getting the Hamilton well ready to provide suitable water for human consumption, the process may pique the interest of many in the country. What does the process entail to get this water to the World Health Organization's standard? Head of the water production at the Nevis Water Department, Clishawn Wilson, in speaking to the VON Newsline, explained the testing process.
What we usually do, we put a submersible pump down into the well. It's currently down 278 feet down into the well. So we are pumping water out. As we take water out, we cause the aquifer to spring in water. So normally pump testing would take you at least 6 days. The first day is to what we call a step drawdown. We usually pump the well at a number of gallons, like 100 gallons per se, then 150, then a 200, then a 250 gallons per minute, to get a better understanding of how the aquifer is yielding water. So right now the well has passed the step drawdown test, so now we are doing what we call a constant drawdown, a constant flow. Whereas we pump the well at a steady flow rate, which is 240 gallons per minute presently, and we are looking to see if the well stabilizes and keeps its flow rate without any kind of trouble. We started this morning at 9 o'clock with the constant flow test, and we are going to be finishing at Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock.
Mr. Wilson also cautioned individuals who may be in use of the hot springs at the Bath Stream.
Maybe by tomorrow morning, they will see the water coming down through the gut in Stony Grove, going down to the Bath Stream. So they may feel some discomfort, but it's only up until Tuesday morning. Maybe by Tuesday night, the water should be back to its original temperature.
Mr. Clishawn Wilson. Communities here in Nevis are set to benefit from a well, as the Nevis Water Department is currently undertaking work to provide Nevis with another source that will see the water supply on the island increase. This well will see an increase in the water supply to the Charlestown area. The department is currently undertaking testing at a well in Hamilton that was discovered some 12 years ago. Project manager Mr. Floyd Robinson explained the issue with the well and the ongoing work.
The well is a well that was dug back in 2008 under a project by BEAD. They completed 2 other wells, so this was the 3rd one. But this particular well was high in manganese and iron, and so it was above the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, threshold for human consumption. So what we have done recently is gotten a filtration system to filter the manganese and the iron. And so right now what we are doing is just a process of redeveloping the well to make sure the well is still consistent in terms of the yield, which is the amount of water, and that the chemical content has not changed. And that water will be provided to a filtration system where the iron and the manganese will be taken out, and then the water can be put into circulation for consumption.
The project manager explained that the work is moving along smoothly, with some new installments being made at that well.
A bigger part of the project, a new tank has just been constructed in the Hamilton area, and that will be extra storage for the Charlestown area. So in terms of the overall project, the tank is completed and we are now working on the well as we speak. We are going to do some pumping tests over the weekend, and hopefully by next week we'll have some numbers that would be consistent with what the well was designed to do originally.
Mr. Floyd Robinson. This well, when it comes on stream, will see the Charlestown area with its own supply instead of taking water from the Morning Star area, which will also mean more water for that region. The well will provide some 280 extra gallons of water per minute to Nevis. In more national news,
the enforcement building is equipped with an underground The Customs Enforcement Division will be benefiting from a brand new enforcement building, which is in its final stages of completion. The enforcement building is scheduled to be completed by March of this year.
Assistant Comptroller of Customs for Investigations, Mr. Elmar Martinez. Mr. Martinez made the announcement on the latest edition of Working for You on January 29, 2020. The new building is designed for the purpose of sheltering from natural disasters, namely hurricanes. The Assistant Comptroller gave further details on other sections of the enforcement building.
The enforcement building is equipped with an underground water system, barracks for officers, an area designated for gym, holding cells, interview rooms and observation rooms, and of course office space. There's also a recreational area. This is a building where we'll be able to work more efficiently as regards to enforcing our laws.
Assistant Comptroller of Customs for Investigations, Mr. Elmar Martinez. Every December through January in St. Kitts and Nevis, opportunities are given to the public to encourage heavy spending for the holiday season. In 2019, these came in the form of the annual Discounted VAT Rate Days, or DVRDs, exemption of duty and taxes on importation of foodstuff up to £400, freight exemption of items under 500 EC or $200, and other discounts offered by local businesses such as retailers and vendors. Coupled with the multitudes of discounts offered by online stores, this creates a wave of imported goods shipped to the Federation. How does the Customs and Excise Department deal with this annual wave of goods? Customs Service Officer 4, Courier Operations Manager, Mr. Jervin Nisbet, on this week's edition of Working for You, explains.
The busy season. In my just about 22 years experience in this job, the last one was one of the heaviest seasons that I've ever seen in terms of inputs, particularly in my area, which is the courier department, the Christmas rush, quote unquote. What we do, we extend working hours, which includes working on weekends. The warehouses are opened before 8. We open up additional areas for examination and cashing, and the all-powerful one that bites a lot of officers, because in my 22 years I've never had a Christmas to myself, right? We don't get vacation during this time. So it's all man on deck when it comes to the busy season.
Due to the massive influx of goods, couriers, businesses, and individuals are the victims of a mixture of logistical errors. These include lost packages, incorrect deliveries, and most commonly, packages delivered late, notably beyond their original estimated dates. When a caller suggested that better coordination efforts be made to litigate these issues, this was Mr. Nisbet's response.
The customs, right? We are evolving, and we are doing our best to make sure that all the importers are satisfied and are dealt with in a fair and expeditious manner. Now, we made mention to the season earlier. It was, I'm pretty sure it caught a lot of people off guard. And I don't want to jump out and say, okay, well, this A didn't do his part or B didn't do his part. But I can tell you that the customs executed what it set out to do during the season. Not just effectively, but efficiently. But we do not work by ourselves. There are several other stakeholders involved.
Customs Service Officer 4, Courier Operations Manager, Mr. Jervin Nisbet. And finally, in our national news segment, women will once again come into focus as the Alpha and Omega Christian Center will host a Moms in Prayer conference from Friday 31st January to Sunday 2nd February. Launched in October of 2019, launched in October of 2009, the organization is into its 11th year. The event will be held at the Penny's Beach Hotel and will commence at 7:30 p.m. It will be governed by the theme, Awake and Hope Overflow the Journey. And that's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
personal as well as your business needs, and we're here to help. Our knowledgeable staff will work with you to help you achieve the financial success that you or your company needs in a competitive market. We offer solutions that make your banking experience easier, like our savings and checking accounts. Be sure to ask about our youth savers accounts and our Bank of Nevis Go Club. We offer a wide range of personal loans, including mortgage, land, student, auto, and consumer loans. Have access to your funds instantly with our BeOnline internet banking and our debit and credit cards. We make international banking and investing easy. How's your business? Give it the leverage it really needs by letting the Bank of Nevis assist you with all the necessary funding for all your business expenses. It's that easy. What are you waiting for? The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Bank of Nevis.
Welcome back, and now for the regional news. Out of Venezuela, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro on Wednesday said he was willing to re-establish consular relations with neighboring Colombia amid a standoff between the two countries over a fugitive former Colombian senator who was captured in Venezuela. Maduro, a socialist last year, suspended relations and gave Colombian diplomatic and consular staff 24 hours to depart in response to conservative President Ivan Duque's government's help to Venezuelan opposition's efforts to bring humanitarian aid to the crisis-stricken country. Colombia, like most Western democracies, recognizes Juan Guaido, chief of Venezuela's opposition-held National Assembly, as the country's rightful leader. Colombia's Justice Ministry earlier this week said it would approach Guaido to request the extradition of Adia Merlano, who was imprisoned last year for vote buying but fled climbing out of her dentist's office. She was captured in Venezuela on Monday. Maduro calls Guaido a U.S. puppet, seeking to oust him in a coup, and frequently accuses Duque of aiming to destabilize his government. With more countries reporting cases since the new coronavirus outbreak began in China a few weeks ago, Caribbean Community or CARICOM member states have begun to take steps to ensure the impact is minimized in the region. Surveillance teams have been established and other preventative measures have been put in place. Barbados already had a number of protocols in place, which had been developed out of its experience with other potential public health threats, such as Ebola and SARS, Health Minister L.T. Cole Jeffrey Bostick said. He said that the ministry would do all in its power to remain on top of the current situation. Belize has activated its national surveillance team, and officials said the Ministry of Health will remain vigilant to the developments and update the public as new information becomes available. In the interim, the ministry is advising that the population to continue practicing proper hand-washing techniques, washing hands with soap, and clean running water before and after eating, when using the bathroom, and before preparing food. Over in Dominica, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment said it has been monitoring all alerts and other communications in relation to the new strain of coronavirus. The Ministry of Public Health in Guyana said it was preparing countermeasures to prevent the outbreak of the virus in the country. And finally, in our regional news segment out of the Bahamas exceeded a record-breaking 7 million visitors in 2019, despite the catastrophic impact of Hurricane Dorian last September. According to the Department of Immigration, Port Authority and Customs, last year was a record-breaking one, with the highest number of arrivals by air and sea recorded in the country's history. By the end of 2019, foreign air and sea arrivals had totaled more than 2.7 million, a 9% increase from 2018. Stopover visitors alone were the highest in the recorded history at 1.78 million, with American visitors accounting for 1.45 million. That's it for the regional news segment. International news is up next. Welcome back, and now for the international news. A nurse in Germany has been arrested on suspicion of poisoning 5 premature babies with morphine, police said, adding that the infants survived. The woman was taken into custody on Wednesday after investigators found a syringe containing breast milk and traces of morphine in her locker at Ulm University Hospital in southern Germany. The BBC's Damien McGuinness reports.
The babies had developed an infection, but tests ruled that out and showed instead traces of morphine. Police were then informed and the hospital was searched. The nurse was arrested after a syringe containing morphine was found in her locker. She denies poisoning the infants, but prosecutors say she knew what she was doing and was aware that the babies could have died as a result of her actions.
6,000 people on board a cruise ship in Italy have been barred from disembarking after a Chinese passenger developed symptoms of coronavirus. The 54-year-old and her traveling companion are being held in isolation on the ship while tests are carried out. The death toll from the coronavirus outbreak has risen to 170. Cases have been diagnosed in at least 15 countries, and many have implemented quarantine plans. In China, where the virus originated, health authorities said there were 7,711 confirmed cases in the country as of the 29th of January. Meanwhile, scientists around the world are racing to develop a vaccine for the new coronavirus. A lab in San Diego, USA, has started their research in developing a vaccine. The BBC's Tulip Mazumdar spoke to Dr. Kate Borderick, head of research and development in Inovio, a research lab, who provided this insight as to how they go about in creating a vaccine.
What you're looking at here is the actual DNA sequence of the virus from the outbreak in China. We received this virus sequence when the Chinese authorities put it online. We downloaded it. We started working on it immediately. And essentially overnight we designed the vaccine that you can see here. The next step then is to put that into manufacture.
Dr. Borderick also provided details about the manufacturing process.
Here we are, Tulip, in the plasmid manufacturing lab. So what you can see here is that we've taken the DNA medicine, the plasmid, and now we've added it to bacteria, and the incubators in the back, you can see the bacteria growing, and also in these flasks that you can see on the bench top here.
It's very musty smelling.
Very smelly. You do get used to it after a while. So the next stage will be to purify the DNA from the bacteria. That will give us a pure product, then can be used for preclinical testing, which is going to start this week. And we hope to get the final product into human testing by early summer.
And finally, in our international news segment, the Malian army will recruit 10,000 soldiers this year. Prime Minister Boubou Cissé made this announcement on Tuesday in Ansongo, in the northern Gao region, where he's been visiting since Monday. The BBC's Will Ross reports.
The Malian military basically doesn't have the capacity to counter what is a very mobile, fast-moving jihadist force. They operate in very small groups, often attacking on the backs of motorbikes. They come in and storm military bases, and they obviously don't pay any attention to the international borders as well. It's an extraordinarily ambitious plan, this. You know, their army at the moment is believed to be less than 20,000. They're talking about going out and recruiting another 10,000 just in a few months.
That is the international news segment. Sports is up next.
TDC Financial Services help you go for your goals. Whether you're thinking of taking that grand vacation, down payment on a house, higher education, TDC Financial Services has various plans that will allow you to go for your goals. Choose from the Accumulator Plus, Investment Starter Plan, and Fixed Deposit. Ready to go for your goals? Visit us at TDC Financial Services, where money is made easy.
Welcome back, and now into sports. In cricket, former England captain Sir Alistair Cook has been appointed to the MCC's World Cricket Committee. The World Cricket Committee is an independent panel of former and current players and umpires that can propose changes to the sport's law. Cook is England's leading test runner with 12,472 in 161 matches and captained England a record of 59 times. The 35-year-old retired from England duty in 2018 but has continued to play county cricket for Essex. Other committee members include former Australia spinner Shane Warne, ex-Australia captain Ricky Ponting, and former Sri Lanka batsman Kumar Sangakkara. Cricket West Indies president Ricky Skerritt has also joined the committee. Cook and Skerritt replaced former West Indies bowler Ian Bishop and Bangladesh all-rounder Shakib Al Hassan, who have both stood down. Shakib, 32, was given a 2-year ban for failing to report corrupt approaches in October of 2019. The Maryland-born cricket club is a guardian of laws and the spirit of the game. Its World Cricket Committee, established in 2006, meets twice a year to discuss issues in the game. In tennis, Novak Djokovic moved a step closer to retaining the Australian Open title with a straight-set semi-final win over injury-hit rival Roger Federer. Serbia's Djokovic was 4-1 and 40-0 down in the open set before recovering to win with a tie break. That led the performer from the 32-year-old second seed to go on to win 7-6, 7-1, 6-4, 6-3. Djokovic, aiming for a 17th Grand Slam title, will face Dominic Thiem and Alexander Zverev in Sunday's final. Victory would mean a record-extending 8th Australian Open triumph for Djokovic, who has lost just 3 matches at Melbourne Park in the past 10 tournaments. And finally, in sports, the NBA will honor Kobe Bryant in next month's All-Star game in Chicago. Bryant, 41, and his daughter Gianna were among 9 people killed in a helicopter crash on Sunday. The NBA has announced a new format for the game that will increase the level of competition, provide additional excitement, and make the outcome of every quarter count for charity. That's it for sports. The latest weather forecast is up next. The weather tonight, mostly fair and cool conditions. The weather tomorrow, mostly sunny skies in general. Winds east at 7 to 19 kilometers per hour or 4 to 10 knots, becoming variable or calm overnight. Seas not exceeding 1.2 meters or 4 feet. Sunrise tomorrow 6:43 a.m. Sunset tomorrow 6:05 p.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Thursday, 30th January 2020. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, UK funds digital media workshops for media professionals in St. Kitts and Nevis. And a Cardress poll shows Team Unity as the preferred party for leadership following the 2020 federal election. Regionally, Venezuela's Maduro proposes reopening consular relations with Colombia. Internationally, thousands stuck on cruise ship after suspected case of coronavirus. And in sports, Sir Alistair Cook joins MCC World Cricket Committee. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Daniel Moore, wishing you a pleasant evening.